Hi friends, today we are going to do another easy problem which is the palindrome number. So essentially what it says is you are given an integer x and you have to return true if x is a palindrome and false otherwise. So what does it means if x is 1 to 1? So you have to return true because if you take it the opposite way from left to right or right to right, it is the same 1 to 1. Whereas if you read minus 1 to 1, it is false because it's a negative number and it's not the same. For 10 also it's false because if you read from right to left, it's going to be 0, 1, which is not same as 1, 0. So let's see how we can do a solution for this problem. So let's first try and see the intuition and then we'll come back to writing the code for this problem. So say we have a number which is 1 to 1. Now we want to check whether this is a palindrome or not. So what we are going to do is we are going to take an I which is going to loop from the end of this number and then go from each element one by one. So it's going to have 1 as the first element. And then we are going to take another variable which is going to be z. So what we are essentially going to do is z into 10 plus we are going to add the number I. So what this essentially is going to do is it's going to just multiply the number by 10 and add that element in so that it becomes the opposite of what we are trying to do. So let's see an example. When I is equal to 1 and we are going to initialize z as 0. So now my z is 0. So 0 into 10 is 0 plus 1. So I will get my new number of z as 1. Now when it goes to the next element, have a backward loop. So it's going to be 2. So when I is equal to 2, the number that I'm going to get for z is z into 10 plus I. So z is 1. So 1 into 10 is 10 plus I, which is 2. So 10 plus 2. My new number for z is going to be 12. Now I'm going to the next element. So this will become 1 again because it's going to point at the first element. Now this will be z into 10, which is 12 into 10, 120 plus 1. So my new number will be 121. Now in the end, I'm just going to check if my current number x is equal to z. If yes, I'm going to return true. If false, it's going to be false. Now let's look at another example just to make things very clear in your mind. So say for example, my number z is x is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'm going to use the same condition. So I is going to start from the first element on the right, which is going to be 5. And then z is again going to my same condition that I'm going to multiply z with 10 and I'm going to add I to it. So my new element for z, it's going to start from 0. It's going to become 5. Now when it moves to the next element, which is 4, my z into 10 is 5 into 10, 50 plus 4. So my next element becomes 54. Now this is going to become 3. So it's z into 10, 54 into 10, 540 plus I, which is 3, 540 plus 3. So this number will become 543. Now I'll move to the next element, which is 2. So it's going to be 5430 plus I. So this element is now going to become 5, 4, 3, 2. Now I'll go to the last element, which is 1. So now this will again be 5, 4, 3, 2, 0 plus 1. So it's going to give me 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now I will check if 1, 2, 3, 5 is equal to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is not the case. So it's going to return false. Now let's write the code for this. So as I mentioned, I'm going to take an element z, which I'm going to initialize with 0. And I'll take a temporary variable which is going to be equal to x, which is going to be 1 to 1. Now if you see here in the second condition, if it's a negative, I want to return false. So this is something that I can check upfront, which is if x is less than 0, then I'll just return false. I don't really need to loop it through. I'm going to just check it. upfront. Now if this is not the case, we'll go in the other end. So now I'm going to loop my number. So while my temp is positive, I'm going to loop it. So what I'm going to do over here is y is equal to temp percent 10. So essentially it's going to give me a modulus of 10. So 121 divided by 10, if I do that, what is my modulus? 1. So I'm going to get y is equal to 1. And then I'm going to divide temp by 10 because I want to remove 1 and only store 1 and 2 for my next loop. Now as I mentioned, z is going to be z into 10 plus y. Now once my looping is done, in the end I'm just going to check if z equals to x, then I'm going to return true, else I'm going to return false. Very simple code. Let's run it. Let's submit it. And you can see it is a pretty decent and effective solution. Thanks for watching.